Good morning, guys. Welcome back. We've got another project here today. This one is a Hamilton Beach Mixette. As you can see, it came in pieces here, so we got a little work to do, a little figuring out to do. We're going to give it its service and maintenance. I noticed the cord. I think the cord was the main thing that the owner was trying to change on it. Once he got into it, realized that there's a little bit more to it here. So we're going to go and try and figure out what's what on this and try and get this one wrapped up and done. I think the first thing that I want to do is get this armature out of here and then try and see what we have for parts, because I see the armature looks decent, but I see that there's some wires here that cross over real close to the armature. So I'm not really sure what the whole deal is with this thing. Let's see if we'll see if we can just get all the parts separated and laid out and try and figure out where everything goes on here. Like for instance, this here, we got a screw here with a spring attached to it and on a sleeve. We got a couple spacers here, which I assume the spacers probably go down there, and got another washer here. A Phillips head screw, so which honestly I don't have a clue right now where this stuff went. I noticed there's also in a bag of parts was a piece for the handle here, so we're just going to have to glue that back on, clean it up good and glue that back on there. But anyways, we got our work cut out for us on this one here to try to figure out what's what. This is a little different than the other ones that we've taken apart, the other mixettes that we've taken apart. Each model's got a slightly different assembly to it, so you kind of get used to the way one type goes together. So this is one that I haven't actually seen this model here before. So, but I'm pretty sure that we can figure out how it all goes together, because even though they may be a little different, they're basically the same. It's just an arrangement of parts. But we do got to get this field coil out of here, and it seems loose. I mean, we should be able to pull it right out. I think it's just getting hung up on the threads of the threaded rods there. But I think we can just work it past that. Eventually getting it out. There we go. Oh, almost had it. I went back down in. Alright, there we go. We've got that out. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to disconnect these wire nuts here for the cord. I'll get this old cord right out of the way. And I notice I do got to get another cord restraint, because this is missing half of it. There's the other part that clamps onto the wire, the small part of it. I'm not sure where that's at. There's a little clear plastic, looks like a little clear plastic plug. I have no idea where that goes either. So yeah, this one's pretty interesting. You start laying out parts here. Here's a little bearing that goes on the back of the armature there. So I'm going to lay that right there by the armature. There are threaded rods in here. And it looks like this has a machine surface in there where that sets against. And then you probably got these two collars here, which set the height of this here, this thing that's got the brush holders on it. And there's two nuts here, I assume they thread on here as well. Yeah, so these two nuts probably go on the other side of this here. Hold them tight to the spacers there. We got a couple of little tiny little screws here, and I'm guessing they would go on the front badge here. So we're going to put them with the front badge. We got 2 screws here that I'm going to say probably go here and here to attach this to this part here. This is what holds the front on, so we'll set those over here. There's one spring and one brush. I don't see any other spring or brush here, so yeah, I don't know. This is the ejector, so I start right here. This ejector goes down somewhere in here. Ejector goes probably right there. So I'm assuming this screw with the spring goes down there to force the ejector back up. So I think we might have figured out where that goes. But this big washer here doesn't look like it even fits on anything in here. So that's a mystery. These 2 nuts right here probably go on the very end of the threaded rod. This part here is on. You know, this goes on, and then those 2 nuts go right there. So we got that part figured out too. But it looks like I'm definitely going to have to get some parts for this, because I need a brush spring, unless it's in the brush holder here still. No, it's not. Alright, so this wasn't sent with all the parts. I'm missing a spring, and then the brushes. I don't know how long these brushes are supposed to be on here. I'll have to just try to stick the spring in here and see how much I can compress this. And I assume. Alright, yeah, so these brushes, the new brushes probably aren't much longer than this right here. So I'll have to look and see what I got, see if I have brushes that are the same size. These do look like 3/16 square brushes, so. But as far as the spring, I'm going to have to go through and see what I've got for springs and stuff. But anyways, I think I've got all the parts figured out on here. So for now, I'm just going to leave it at that and see what's involved in taking these gears and everything out of here. Let me get some of this grease scraped out. You can see there's a considerable amount of old grease in here. This is totally different than like the stand mixers where you just put like dabs of grease where they need to be. This looks like it can hold a significant amount of grease, and it doesn't appear that you have any screws that go through the gearbox into the grease. So I mean, that's why at the stand mixers it's an open gearbox, and you've got 3 screws that hold the cover on, which is basically the front of the machine. So you can't really have a pack full of grease. But these are definitely a little different. I want to just get enough off so I can find my set screws on these gears so I can pull the shafts out. And we can work on getting all the grease cleaned off everything. And the grease in here is kind of nasty. A bit on the thick and gooey side. Okay, so I think I can see my set screws now, which should be little slotted head set screws. So with the right screwdriver, yeah, there we go. Now let's just see if they'll cooperate and pop out of here. Oh, no, not cooperating at all. I feel like I'm going to bend my screwdriver. Okay, let's see if we can get the other one to go. No, I think I'm just going to bend or break the end of my screwdriver. Alright. Well, I'm going to have to try and get out as much of this grease as I can on here. Add it to the inside of here and see if I can just warm that up enough to break those loose, because there's really no way I'm going to get anything penetrant or anything down in there. But normally if I can get it warmed up enough, I can break those loose. So let me work on that, and then I'll come back as soon as I get these loose. Alright, we've got everything all cleaned up and ready to be put back together, so let's see if we can go through and figure out how this thing gets reassembled, since we didn't really do the disassembly on it. I'll make sure we get this oil wicks down here lubed up really well. Because believe it or not, that does not have a, it doesn't seem like an oil hole. I mean, there's a hole in the back there. I guess that can lubricate the wick, but I know there's a metal piece sitting right on top of that hole, so not really sure how well that lubricates, because I just dropped oil in there and there's none coming out that hole. So we're just going to make sure that we get enough oil in here and see if we can get the flow out that hole. If not, then at least we know we got a lot of oil in there. Alright, I guess we'll get our fuel coil in next on here. And I believe, well, no, we want to put our cord in first. Alright, and I tried to find, these split type of cord restraints, and I could not find anyone anywhere. So I ended up just getting a grommet, and I'm just going to put a restraint on the cord after it goes through that grommet there. Alright, so looking at the original cord, it looks that, well, I don't even know if that's the original cord or not, but looking at that cord that came off, it looks like the end was only split a little bit, so we'll pretty much follow suit. We don't want to have the part that's split end up coming out the back of it, showing on the other side of the grommet. Alright, so now this goes in like so. Right. we're pretty much just going to attach these. Alright, well that was a trick. We got the cord in there, got our caps on, and just got to try and get everything out of the way in here. That seems to be the difficult part right now, but I think we can go ahead and we can get our armature, which is all clean and polished up, dropped into place here. And I put some grease in here just to hold this. It's got a little bearing ball that goes in the back here. And I'm just getting some grease in there just to hold it in place so it don't fall out. And grease seems to be a pretty effective glue or something like that. Drop that in the hole. Now we can try to finagle all of our wiring and everything into this tiny little space here. So now, time for getting some brushes and springs in here. Sorry, I'm going to get a picture of the vacuum and see what's Alright, so with the bushing all in here and the oil wicks in there and everything's lubed up and stuff, we're going to go ahead and get this attached on here to hold everything into place where it needs to be, so that we can actually turn this thing on and see if it's going to work. And I think instead of attaching the nuts on there, I think I'm just going to plug it in right now and just hope for the best. Oops, sorry about that. So let's see what happens here. Alright, we got it plugged in. Okay, there's a low speed, medium, and there's high. And obviously everything needs to get seated yet, and I don't have this attached here. But now I know we can go ahead and we get everything attached and actually have a working mixer again here. And it sounded good too. So let's go ahead and get our nuts on here that hold this all together. It's also got this screw here too, which is it's a Phillips head screw. And this does have some Phillips head screws on it, but it's a newer looking one. And I have no idea where that goes to in there. Okay, I did also find a set of beaters here. And I don't know, where I got these, what they go to, but they do, strangely enough, they fit perfectly in here, so go through and eject them. But it was great for helping to set the timing on these. So, and this thing has barely been run now since I got it together. So it's definitely going to need to everything's going to have to get seated in on here. You can see it looks like one of those beaters is a little bit bent there. Not too bad. Now you see there's low, which is quite low, but I guess if you're starting how you do on a low speed, medium speed, high speed, and the thing seems to be staying nice and cool too. I mean, it's not getting really warm. Yeah, these beaters may not be for that one. I mean, there's a lot of slop in there when they fit in, so they may not be for this mixer. It's just weird that they fit perfectly. And like I said, I don't really know where I got these from, but they work good enough though to set the beater timing, so we know that part's good. But anyways, we're going to get this one all wrapped up now and ready to go back to the owner. I think he'll be happy to have this back, and we'll move on to the next one. So if you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe and click that bell so you can be notified when we see of any other videos that we post. You'll be able to see the notification and go ahead and check them out, or at least see if it interests you or not. But anyways, as always, we appreciate you guys watching, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks.